What's going on, everyone? It's TK and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna look at this beautiful thrower strategy with the fireball and show you how strong it really is, because I think it can actually replace the super witches back in Town Hall 16. So let's dive in and see this video. Here we are on the first base, and guys, we have the core town hall base with double rage. Now on this one, I want to give you a few tips with the thrower. Don't start your queen and like king funneling too early, okay? Because the thrower have a certain angle and basically like targeting that sometimes it may target buildings that you don't expect, so they will stay behind and not be caught up with the main army. So now you can see the beautiful fireball we're gonna into, like literally right on the rage tower. You cannot get any better than that. Now on this attack, I'm not actually going to dive into the clan castle. I'm gonna go and end on the clan castle, and you're gonna see why. Because it doesn't really matter at the end of the attack that, okay, there's a triple ice golem. It doesn't matter. So you're chilling, you're just going through the base. We are going with those, throwers, and of course the, apprentice warden. I'm gonna say like the mini warden sometimes, but don't get me wrong, it's nothing too crazy. Now we do have one skeleton spell to tank for a monolith or a single inferno, going with the loons to protect our healers, and you can see we do have a rage and freeze and also a poison in case we don't go for that CC takedown with the fireball. Now the only problem with this army is a jump spell, right? So you need to make sure your king's earthquake boots open up the base, or for example just give certain access to those throwers that they can reach now everything in this base. You can see queen on the lower side with the siege barracks, she did great. Now we do have the valkyries coming out of the siege barracks, and the rage spell is being placed nicely, so we got everything we needed. And now the CC is about to come out, which is at the end of the attack, so I can drop an RC on the opposite side of the CC and get the value that we were going to get with that rocket spare. Of course you want to have the rocket spare. If you don't, it's fine, you just need to drop your RC a different side, so just drop it with the main army. If you're having the hog puppet and the haze spell and you don't have your RC rocket spear upgraded, that's how crushing this attack comes down to. Because look at the swag and look at the troops, look at the heroes. Only thing we lost was a king. So you can see already how strong and powerful this army really is, and this base had double rage. So we're going to dive into the next bases, and there are multiple kind of variations of bases that I brought you today. Here we are on a common base that was really getting used a lot in Town Hall 16, but this person has tweaked a few defenses and made it a Town Hall 17 base, which actually honestly does look quite good with the Rage Tower and of course a nice Invisibility Tower on top. Now on this base, I really wanted to go with a Fireball onto the single Inferno, because you can see the value. Of course, you just shouldn't be too greedy. Some people like to go to the complete Rage Tower core Fireball. It's crazy, don't do that. Go with a regular value, and if you see it's too deep, go with a bit like beforehand. Look at this, my warden got 2 building and I went with the fireball, and now we can start the troops. Simple as that. So on this one, I'm gonna go in with the throwers into that ricochet cannon area, going to make sure we do have the funnel set for our troops, healers behind the warden, and do not forget to drop a loon before you drop your healers. Sometimes there are people in Legends League that they put those red air bombs outside of the base, and you might get caught lacking. So trust me on that, it's gonna be bad. So hopefully, nice, the wallbreaker made it. Now what we're gonna do is the queen and of course the siege barracks. I dropped the barbarian so the expo doesn't lock straight onto the siege barracks, and here is where you can go with that king ability to open up everything, because you need the access to the core and to the town hall, and you don't need your queen to go in. But good thing for us was that we did open the wall. If you didn't, if your wallbreaker missed, you can go with that king ability. But now you can see the value we got from that ability. Queen ability goes off on the top side. We do have a rage spell to use in the core, but don't be too fast with it. Keep it cool. Let's see where the throwers go, because I told you about the targeting. Sometimes you might need to wait and rethink the way you use your spells, because of the way they could completely get separated, and you may need to end up using the spells for the RC. Now RC on the lower side, I told you with that rocket where you can get literally 2 or 3 compartments down with the major defenses, and the back end is not really too strong. You know, I did invest a rage here. That's where the throwers will end up going to throw those spares nicely. And RC still alive. We do have a free spell. Queen still alive. Warden still alive. Again, triple hero alive in the back end. We do need some cleanup, so make sure you drop a barbarian baby dragon in case you have it right behind your RC drop, because usually that's where things get left out and you need to go back for it. But as you saw, like, we didn't do a quick, like long warden walk, right? We did a quick one and we popped the warden ability quickly, so that's why we got like 1 minute extra for our cleanup. And hopefully you guys like this attack, the way we approach this base from a side going into the core. But let's move on to the third attack. Now on this base, I'm doing a lot more longer warden walk than the last base. Okay, it's still not too long, but it's a bit longer than the last base. Now I saw the left hand side and I saw the ricochet cannon. I was like, I'd rather get the ricochet cannon than get 2 multi-archer towers. That's what I personally like. Plus we could kill the enemy queen with our fireball. So the whole idea is a fireball on the scatter shot. Now we check for that warden drop, because this approach looks kind of common, so you always need to go with that 1 hog rider or 1 barbarian just to make sure the warden is safe and sound on that side of the base. Going with the loon to test for my healers, and you can see the baby dragon already on the lower side just to make sure the warden doesn't go too much off pathing, so he goes straight to the ricochet cannon. Once it's taken down, now you can count on your invisibilities 1, 2 and 3. You can then drop that earthquake and go with the fireball. Don't go too early because the invis spells might not be placed yet. Don't go too late because then the warden might end up dying or targeting a Tesla, for example, which in this case the warden did end up dying, but not because of the reason I told you. Now we do have the siege barracks separating the queen from the main army and also separating the army from the queen, so that's how you can go inside the base. But make sure your wall breakers are placed perfectly, because you're gonna see what happens to my king. That funnel on the top side was amazing and on time, because this is where everything got funneled and the king came back. If your king goes to the outside, that could hurt you in your attack. Just watch out, because you need the earthquake boots in the core to open for the throwers. Now you can see I'm going to rage up those throwers. Unfortunately, we don't have the warden, but we do have rage spell. Waiting on this town hall, waiting on the clan castle. Again, another attack where we finish on the clan castle, going with the poison and RC right where the CC area is. That's how you want to drop, because the queen on the right side will give you everything, unless of course you have the RC with the hog puppet, so you can drop the RC with your queen and she can get you the scatter shot, which the queen cannot reach. Something to keep in mind with different equipments that you use. King still alive. We do have the thrower still alive, 2 free spells, and you can see how we're gonna use the headhunters and the free spells for the enemy heroes just on the back end. And again, triple hero alive. Having 3 heroes alive on Tunnel 17 at the end of the attack is really good and crushing, and you are always going to be on time and never time fail, because I've got some comments, people are saying we're time failing, Tunnel 17 has too many defenses and buildings. Don't go and rush it, or don't be there like too long of a warden walk if you're doing a fireball approach. Simple as that. We got this based on, and of course there is a few of those storages at the back end. I told you that's exactly where I drop my RC, so always drop it clean up. If you even want, you can count like 1 baby dragon out and put 2 wizards in this army. It's gonna be nice and helpful. On this attack, I actually wanted to go with a deep fireball. Sometimes I don't do this, okay, like maybe most of the time, but I was like, I do have a chance to go with a fireball on that builder hut that is in the core right next to the multi-inferno. So that is kind of the problem of the base, right? The other side doesn't have that, and the base builder could use this in his advantage of placing the traps right where I dropped the warden. That could also be the case, but this person wasn't a good base builder, so we don't have the traps there and we are fine to go. Something to note is that of course drop that barbarian or hog at the very beginning before you drop the warden in case it's baited, but I always go with that loon before the healers. It could again be baited, just need to watch out. But now the dragon meta is back, so people are using their traps more in the core rather than the outside, because otherwise you're gonna get cooked with Hydra. So yeah, now the warden is going through a lot of damage, so this is why you got 3 invisibility. In case the warden goes through a lot, you can go with that invisibility. You don't need to necessarily rage the warden. If you want to go too deep, you could rage the warden, but still, you don't necessarily need to. Now, baby dragon on the archer tower to get a defense, so we can drop the invisibilities better. And now looking at where the warden goes, invis, and boom, there goes the ability. But make sure you keep him alive. One free spell. Don't keep watching the fireball. You need to watch your warden the moment you pop the fireball, because that's when you cannot do anything more about your army and your warden. You just need to keep him alive. Baby dragon and the P.E.K.K.A.s on the outside. King goes in, wall breaking for the king, and of course the throwers. We do have the healers going with tanking troops. I do drop a Valkyrie, just gonna drop everything I got to go to this base. And look, this is where usually you would jump, but we do have the king ability, which I'm gonna use to get into the core. And of course the spiky ball, absolutely amazing, taking down the backside rage tower, going with those Valkyries on the top side from the siege barracks to come in front of my queen to tank more, so I can keep the ability for longer. Now I do go with the rage on the throwers and the healers so they can stay alive. RC quickly with her ability just to take out a few more major defenses, so the throwers have better time going through the base. And I do miss that free spell drop on both Inferno and the Ricochet Cannon. Nothing on the lower side can really stop this attack. We got 4 heroes alive, guys. That's insane. And I told you, the army is absolutely broken. It's one of those armies that you're like, okay, I can use this for quite a bit of time and I can get used to it, because it is a smash army. It looks like smash and a spam army, but you're not necessarily spamming. You still need skill to place those spells, invisibility spells, don't get baited with the fireball, and of course a back end finish. Just make sure you don't get too greedy. That's my only advice to you, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Take care and come back tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Peace.